You think you are beautiful, so you can take all the men from us, Abi? After today, we will see how you will distract our men with this your beauty. If you are listening right now, help me prove something wrong. I was told I wouldn't even reach 1,000 subscribers, but I believe powerful stories like this deserve a voice. Subscribe and help me show that stories like these truly matter. In the village of Umuahia, there lived a girl named Oluchi. Her name meant God's work, and truly she was a beautiful work of God. When Oluchi was born, the midwife who helped her mother give birth gasped when she saw the baby's face. The baby's skin was smooth like fresh palm oil, her eyes were bright like the morning star, and when she cried, even her cry sounded like music. Her father, Mr. Nnamdi Okechukwu, was a palm wine tapper. Every morning he would climb the tall palm trees with his calabash to collect the sweet wine that dripped from the trees. Her mother, Mrs. Chika Okechukwu, was known throughout Umuahia for the most beautiful baskets she wove. Their hands were rough from hard work, but their hearts were soft with love, especially for their only daughter, Oluchi. From the day Oluchi was born, something special happened in their compound. Neighbors who were walking past their house would stop. They would peek through the wooden fence just to catch a glimpse of baby Oluchi sleeping in her mother's wrapper. Women who came to fetch water from the stream nearby would take a longer route just to pass by the Okechukwu compound. "Chika, let me carry the baby small," they would beg. And when Mrs. Chika placed little Oluchi in their arms, their faces would light up like the sun was shining directly on them. They would rock her gently, touch her soft cheeks, and smile so wide that you could count all their teeth. Mama Ngozi, the oldest woman in the village, said one afternoon, she had come to visit with a small wrapper filled with groundnuts. "See how even the flies don't disturb her. See how calm she is. This one will bring blessings to your house." And Mama Ngozi was right. People started bringing gifts to the Okechukwu family. Papa Emeka, who sold yams at the market, would bring the biggest yams. Auntie Funaya, who sold akara and puff-puff, would bring warm bean cakes wrapped in old newspaper. The village chief's wife brought tiny gold earrings for Oluchi's ears. Even the palm oil traders who came from other villages would leave a few extra bottles at their doorstep after seeing the child. Mr. Nnamdi and Mrs. Chika were not rich people, but because of Oluchi, their small house was always full of gifts and food. At night, after they had eaten dinner, Mr. Nnamdi would sit outside their compound with Oluchi on his lap. The cool evening breeze would blow, and he would point at the stars. "You see that big star over there?" he would ask little Oluchi, even though she was too young to understand. "That star is not as bright as you, my daughter." Mrs. Chika would laugh and playfully hit her husband's shoulder. "Nnamdi, stop filling the child's head with proud talk. We must raise her to be humble." But Nnamdi would just smile and kiss Oluchi's forehead. "I'm only speaking the truth, my wife. Our daughter is special." As Oluchi grew from a baby to a little girl, her beauty grew too. By the time she was 7 years old, she was the most beautiful child anyone in Umuahia had ever seen. Her hair was thick and black like the feathers of a healthy rooster. Her teeth were white like freshly peeled cassava. Her smile could make even the grumpiest person smile back. But what made Oluchi truly special was not just her beauty, it was her heart. When she was 8 years old, she saw an old man struggling to carry a heavy bag of corn. Without anyone telling her, Oluchi ran to help him. She was small and the bag was heavy, but she held one side while the old man held the other, and together they carried it to his house. "Thank you, my daughter," the old man said, tears filling his eyes. "You have the hands of an angel and the heart of a queen." At the village market, Oluchi would help her mother arrange the baskets they came to sell. While other children ran around playing and causing trouble, Oluchi would sit quietly, greeting customers with respect. "Good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon, sir. Would you like to buy a basket today? My mother makes the strongest baskets in all of Umuahia." The customers would smile at her politeness. Many of them bought baskets not just because they needed them, but because they wanted to make the sweet girl happy. When Oluchi turned 23 years old, she had become a stunning young woman. She was no longer the little girl who played under the mango tree. She was now tall and graceful, walking with the gaze of a palm tree swaying in the wind. Young men from Umuahia and even from neighboring villages would find excuses to walk past her house. they would suddenly develop an interest in palm wine just so they could come and buy from her father. They would pretend they needed baskets just so they could see Oluchi at the market. But Oluchi paid them no mind. She had 3 close friends and they were all she cared about. Their names were Ada, Ngozi, and Amara. These 3 girls had been Oluchi's friends since they were small children playing in the village square. Every morning, the 4 friends would meet at the village stream to fetch water. They would balance their clay pots on their heads, walking in a line and singing songs. The water is cold, 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 but our friendship is warm like gold. We walk together, never apart, 4 friends, 1 heart. They would sing and laugh, their voices echoing through the quiet morning air. After fetching water, they would sometimes go to the river to wash clothes. They would stand in the cool water, beating their clothes against the smooth river rocks, chatting about everything and nothing. Oluchi, did you see how Mama Adazi's goat ate all her vegetables yesterday? Ada would say, and they would all laugh. During village festivals, when the drums would beat boom, 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 and the whole village would gather at the square, the 4 friends would dance together. They would wear their best wrappers, their waists moving to the rhythm of the drums, their feet stomping the red earth, raising small clouds of dust. At night, they would sit in front of Oluchi's compound, plaiting each other's hair under the moonlight. Oluchi would plait Ngozi's hair into beautiful cornrows. Ngozi would plait Amara's hair. Amara would plait Ada's hair, and Ada would plait Oluchi's hair. We will be friends forever, they promised each other, their voices serious in the darkness. And they meant it. They truly meant it. But they did not know that jealousy is like a tiny seed. You don't see it at first. It's buried deep in the heart. But if you water it with bitter thoughts, if you give it sunshine through angry comparisons, that tiny seed will grow. It will grow into a big, ugly plant with thorns that can hurt everyone around it. And in the hearts of Ada, Ngozi, and Amara, that tiny seed of jealousy was already planted. They just didn't know it yet.
8 years had passed since Oluchi and her 3 friends made their promise under the moonlight. They were no longer young girls plaiting hair and giggling about small things. They were now women of marriage age, and the village elders had started asking their parents, "When will you find husbands for your daughters?" Ngozi was thick and strong, with arms that could carry 2 pots of water at once. She had a loud booming laugh that you could hear from far away. Amara was the quietest one. She had soft eyes and a gentle voice, and she was the best cook among them all. All 3 of them were beautiful in their own way. Any man would be lucky to marry them. But there was a problem, a big problem that grew bigger with each passing day. Whenever the 4 friends walked together through the village, people's eyes always landed on Oluchi. It was like the sun had come out from behind the clouds, and everything else became shadows. "Ah, Oluchi, you are glowing today like a new bride," the women at the market would call out. "Oluchi, my daughter, come and greet me," the old men sitting under the Iroko tree would beckon. "That Oluchi, she gets more beautiful every day. Her mother must have fed her special food when she was growing up," the traders would whisper to each other. Ada, Ngozi, and Amara would stand there smiling and greeting people too, but it was like they were invisible. The compliments never came to them. The warm smiles were never for them. It was always Oluchi, Oluchi, Oluchi. At first, they tried to ignore the painful feeling in their chests. "It doesn't matter," they told themselves. "We are friends. Friends should be happy for each other." But the human heart is a complicated thing. You can tell it to be happy, but sometimes it refuses to listen. One afternoon, during the Orie market day, a young man named Chidi came to buy plantains. He was a farmer from the neighboring village of Mbaise, and he had strong muscles from working on his farm every day. Ngozi was selling plantains that day, and when Chidi approached her stall, her heart started beating fast. "Good afternoon, sister. Your plantains look very fresh and ripe. How much for 10 fingers? Ngozi's face lit up like a lamp filled with palm oil. Finally, a handsome man was paying attention to her. "They are 50 naira for 10 fingers, but for you, I will give you 12 fingers for the same price." Chidi laughed. "You are very kind and very beautiful too. What is your name?" "My name is Ngozi," she said, her voice shy and sweet. They talked for a while. Chidi asked about her family, her village, and what she liked to do. Ngozi felt like she was floating. This was it. This was the moment she had been waiting for. Maybe Chidi would become her husband. But then Oluchi came walking through the market. She had gone to buy some thread for her mother and was on her way back home. The sunlight seemed to dance on her skin. Her wrapper was simple, just a blue and white Ankara print, but on her it looked like royal clothing. Chidi stopped talking mid-sentence. His mouth hung open slightly. His eyes followed Oluchi as she walked past, greeting people and smiling her gentle smile. Who is that?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Ngozi's heart dropped into her stomach like a stone falling into a deep well. She knew what was coming. She had seen this happen before, many times. "That is my friend, Oluchi," Ngozi said quietly. "Your friend? Can you introduce her to me?" Ngozi wanted to cry, but she held the tears inside. She wanted to say no, but what kind of friend would she be? "Oluchi?" Ngozi called out, her voice shaking a little. "Oluchi, come and meet someone." Oluchi turned and walked over to them, her face bright with curiosity. "Yes, Ngozi. Good afternoon," she greeted Chidi politely. From that moment, it was like Ngozi disappeared. Chidi only had eyes for Oluchi. He asked her name, where she lived, what her parents did. Oluchi answered politely, but kept her answers short. She could see the pain in Ngozi's eyes, and it made her uncomfortable. "I have to go now," Oluchi said quickly. "My mother is waiting. It was nice to meet you, Chidi," and she hurried away. But the damage had already been done. Chidi bought his plantains from Ngozi, but he didn't smile anymore. He didn't ask any more questions. He just paid and left, his eyes still searching the market for another glimpse of Oluchi. That night, Ngozi cried into her wrapper until it was wet with tears. The same thing happened to Amara a week or two later. A palm oil trader named Obina had been coming to her house for 2 months, bringing small gifts and talking with her father about marriage. Amara had started to hope. Maybe finally she would have a husband. Then one evening, Obina saw Oluchi at the village stream. The next day, he went to Oluchi's house instead, carrying his gifts for her father. When Oluchi's father politely told him that Oluchi was not interested in marriage yet, Obina left, but he never returned to Amara's house. He simply disappeared, as if all his promises were written in sand and washed away by rain. Ada's experience was the worst of all. A rich trader named Kenechukwu from Enugu had been courting her for 3 whole months. He brought her expensive wrappers, bottles of perfume from the city, and even jewelry. Ada's mother had already started planning the wedding. Ada had already started calling herself Madam Kenechukwu in her head. Then Kenechukwu attended the village's New Yam festival. He saw Oluchi dancing with her friends, her body moving gracefully to the drums, her smile lighting up the evening. After that day, everything changed. Kenechukwu started making excuses. He was too busy. He had to travel. He would come next week, next month, soon. But soon never came. Ada went to his shop in the next village to confront him. "Kenechukwu, why have you abandoned me? Did I do something wrong?" Kenechukwu couldn't even look her in the eye. "Ada, you are a good woman, but I have seen someone who has captured my heart completely. I cannot lie to you." "Who is this person?" Ada demanded, even though deep in her heart she already knew the answer. "Her name is Oluchi. She is from your village. Do you know her? Can you help me? Can you talk to her?" Ada felt like someone had poured hot water on her heart. The pain was so sharp, so deep, that she couldn't breathe properly. She turned and ran all the way back to Umuahia, not stopping even when her feet hurt and her chest was heaving. That evening, the 3 friends met secretly behind Amara's house. The moon was hiding behind thick clouds, and the darkness matched the darkness in their hearts. "I can't take this anymore," Ngozi said, her voice breaking. "Every man I like, every man who shows interest in me, they all forget about me the moment they see Oluchi." "It's the same with me," Amara whispered. "I'm tired of being invisible. I'm tired of being the friend that nobody sees." Ada's jaw was tight with anger. "Today, Kenechukwu told me he wants Oluchi. The same man who bought me jewelry, who promised to marry me, now wants my friend. How can we continue like this? How can we keep living in Oluchi's shadow?" "But it's not Oluchi's fault," Amara said softly. "She doesn't chase these men. She doesn't even encourage them. She always keeps her distance." It doesn't matter, Ada shafted. Whether she encourages them or not, they still want her. Whether she does anything or not, we are still the ones suffering. We are still the ones alone while everyone praises her beauty. Ngozi wiped her tears roughly. What do we do? Do we just accept this? Do we just accept that we will never have husbands because our friend is too beautiful? The three friends sat in silence, the night sounds of crickets and frogs filling the air around them. In their hearts, something dark was taking root. The tiny seed of jealousy that had been planted years ago was now growing, spreading its roots deep into their souls. We need to do something, Ada said, her voice low and dangerous. We need to make sure that Oluchi doesn't steal any more of our men. But what can we do? Ngozi asked. Ada didn't answer immediately. She was thinking, planning. The jealousy in her heart was like a fire, burning hotter and hotter. I don't know yet, Ada said finally, but we will think of something. We have to. And under the dark, moonless sky, the three friends made a silent agreement. Their love for Oluchi was slowly being choked by the weeds of jealousy and bitterness.
3 weeks after that dark meeting behind Amara's house, life in Umuahia continued as normal. The sun still rose every morning, the roosters still crowed, women still went to the stream to fetch water, and children still played in the village square. But for Ada, Ngozi, and Amara, everything felt different. They smiled at Oluchi when they saw her. They still fetched water with her and washed clothes together at the river, but inside their hearts, something had changed. It was on an Afo market day when Adamu arrived in Umuahia. The market was busy and noisy, filled with the sounds of people bargaining, chickens clucking, and children running between the stalls. Adamu came riding on a strong black horse, and behind him were 2 young men carrying large empty calabashes and clay pots. Adamu was a palm oil trader from Onitsha, one of the biggest trading cities near the great river Niger. He was very handsome, with broad shoulders and skin that glowed like polished wood. His clothes were expensive, made from the finest George wrapper material, and around his neck hung a thick coral bead necklace that showed he came from a wealthy family. When he smiled, his white teeth sparkled, and when he spoke, his voice was deep and confident. Every woman in the market noticed him when he arrived. Mothers whispered to their daughters, "See that man, he must be very rich. Look at his horse, look at his clothes." Adamu climbed down from his horse and tied it to a tree near the entrance. He looked around, searching for someone who could help him. His eyes landed on Ada, who was sitting under a large umbrella selling dried fish and crayfish. "Good afternoon, sister," Adamu called out with a charming smile. "I am looking for someone who can direct me to where I can buy good quality palm oil. I have come from Onitsha and I need to fill all these containers." Ada's heart jumped in her chest. This handsome, wealthy man was talking to her. Finally, her luck was changing. She quickly stood up, brushing the dust from her wrapper. "Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to Umuahia," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "My name is Ada." "Ada," Adamu repeated, as if tasting the name. "That is a beautiful name. My name is Adamu. Please, can you show me where to find the best palm oil?" "Yes, of course. Follow me." Ada felt like dancing. She led Adamu through the crowded market, showing him different stalls where women sold palm oil in bottles and gourds. Adamu asked her questions about the village, about the quality of the palm oil, and about her life. "And you, Ada, are you married?" Adamu asked as they walked. Ada's cheeks grew warm. "No, not yet." "That is surprising. A beautiful woman like you should have many suitors lining up at your father's door." Beautiful. He called her beautiful. Ada felt like her chest would burst with happiness. They continued talking and walking, and with each step, Ada felt more and more hopeful. Maybe this was it. Maybe Adamu was the man who would finally see her, who would finally choose her instead of being distracted by someone else. Then, like a sudden rainstorm on a sunny day, everything changed. Oluchi came walking through the market.
She had been at home all morning, helping her mother dye new wrappers with indigo. Her hands were still slightly blue from the dye. She wore a simple yellow wrapper and white blouse, and her hair was tied back with a piece of cloth. She wasn't dressed fancy. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She was just Oluchi, walking to buy some vegetables for her mother's soup. But when Adamu saw Oluchi, the world seemed to stop. He was in the middle of telling Ada a story about a funny thing that happened at the Onitsha market when Oluchi walked past. His words died in his mouth. His eyes followed Oluchi as she moved through the crowd, greeting people with her gentle smile, her presence like cool water on a hot day. Who is that? Adamu asked, his voice barely a whisper, the same words that so many men had spoken before. Ada's happiness shattered like a clay pot dropped on hard ground. No, not again. Please, not again. That is my friend, Ada said, her voice tight. Her name is Oluchi? Oluchi, Adamu repeated, as if the name itself was magical. She is. I have never seen. Ada, please, you must introduce me to her, please. Ada wanted to scream. She wanted to cry. She wanted to grab Adamu's face and force him to look at her, to see her, to remember that just moments ago he was talking about visiting her, about getting to know her better. But what could she do? If she refused, Adamu would just find another way to meet Oluchi, and Oluchi would find out that Ada had prevented the introduction, and that would cause problems between them. With a heavy heart that felt like it was filled with stones, Ada called out, Oluchi, come here for a moment. Oluchi turned and saw Ada sitting under a stranger under the mango tree. She smiled and walked over. Ada, I didn't know you were here. Good afternoon, sir. She greeted Adamu politely. Good afternoon. My name is Adamu. I am a palm oil trader from Onitsha. Your friend Ada has been very helpful to me today. That is nice. Ada is a very good person, Oluchi said simply. She noticed how Adamu was looking at her, and she didn't like it. She had seen that look before, too many times. I have to go and buy vegetables for my mother. It was nice to meet you, Adamu. Enjoy your stay in Umuahia. She turned to leave, but Adamu stepped forward. Wait, please, I would love to talk with you. Can we sit and talk for a little while? I'm sorry, but my mother is waiting for me, Oluchi said, kindly but firmly. Maybe another time. And she walked away, disappearing into the crowded market. Adamu stood there, watching her go, completely forgetting that Ada was still sitting under the tree. When he finally turned back, his face had changed. The warmth, the interest, the charm he had shown Ada earlier was gone. He looked distracted, distant. Ada, your friend Oluchi, is she married? He slowly said, each word like a thorn piercing Ada's heart. No. Does she have a suitor? Someone courting her? No. Do you think you could talk to her for me? Tell her that I am interested. Tell her that I am a good man, a wealthy man, and I would treat her like a queen. Ada stared at Adamu. This was the same man who just minutes ago had called her beautiful, the same man who had asked to visit her, the same man who had given her silver coins, and now he was asking her to help him win another woman's heart, to help him win her friend's heart. Something inside Ada broke. It wasn't a loud breaking like a tree falling in the forest. It was a quiet breaking, like a small crack spreading through a clay pot. Why? Ada asked, her voice shaking. Why did you change your mind about me? Just because you saw Oluchi? Am I not beautiful anymore? Was everything you said to me a lie? Adamu had the decency to look ashamed, but he didn't apologize. Ada, you are beautiful. You truly are. But Oluchi, she is... He struggled to find the words. She is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in my entire life. Her beauty is not of this world. Surely you can understand. Surely you can see it too. I see many things, Ada said bitterly. She stood up, her legs shaking. I see that men are all the same. I see that no matter how kind I am, no matter how helpful I am, I will always be invisible when Oluchi is around. Ada, please, don't be angry. I didn't mean to hurt you, but you did hurt me. Ada's voice rose, and some people in the market turned to look. She lowered her voice, tears burning in her eyes. "You made me hope. You made me think that finally someone saw me. But you didn't see me at all. You just saw someone convenient until something better came along." Ada turned and ran from the market, the silver coin still clutched in her hand. She ran past the palm trees, past the village square, past the stream, until she reached the small forest path that led to her house. There, hidden among the trees where no one could see her, she fell to her knees and cried. She cried for all the times men had chosen Oluchi over her. She cried for all the lonely nights wondering if she would ever be enough. She cried for the hope that had just been crushed under Adamu's thoughtless words. As the sun began to set, painting the sky orange and purple, Ada's tears dried up. In their place, something else grew. Anger, hot, burning anger, and a decision. She would not let this happen again. She would not let Oluchi take any more men from her. She would not let Oluchi's beauty continue to cast a shadow over her life. Ada stood up, wiping her face with her wrapper. Her jaw was set, her eyes hard. She knew what needed to be done. She just needed to convince Ngozi and Amara to help her.
That night, Ada called her friends to meet at the old Iroko tree. The moon hung in the sky like a silver coin, but its light could not chase away the darkness growing in their hearts. "We cannot continue like this," Ada said, her voice tight with anger. "Today, Adamu came to the market. He was interested in me. He gave me silver coins and promised to visit. But then he saw Oluchi and I became invisible." Ngozi's hands curled into fists. "The same thing happened to me with Chidi. And to you, Amara, with Obina." "What can we do?" Amara whispered, fear in her voice. Ada's eyes glinted in the moonlight. "If Oluchi was not here, men would finally see us. There is a deep pit in the forest. We can end her and no one will know. We would finally have a chance at happiness." "You want to kill her?" Amara's voice shook. "I want to save ourselves." Ada grabbed their hands. "Think about it. Either she ruins our lives or we take control of our future." The jealousy in their hearts had grown so big that it swallowed their conscience. They agreed to the terrible plan. The next morning, they went to Oluchi's house with smiles on their faces. "We need firewood for the rainy season. Please come help us." Oluchi agreed happily, even though she knew they all had enough firewood. Of course, friends help each other. They walked deep into the forest. Oluchi began to feel uneasy. They passed many firewood they could have picked, but her friends walked past like they weren't there for firewood. "We are going too far. My mother said not to go deep. It can be dangerous here." "Just a little more, Oluchi," Ada insisted. What they didn't know was that Jaja, a hunter from a nearby village, was tracking a bush pig nearby. He heard voices and hid behind a tree, watching. Something felt wrong about how the three women kept looking at each other with nervous faces. When they reached the pit, covered with leaves and branches, Oluchi stepped back. "That's dangerous. We should stay away." Suddenly, her three friends surrounded her. Their faces had changed. The friendliness was gone. "What's wrong?" Oluchi asked, confused and afraid. "You!" Ada shouted. "You take everything from us. Every man who looks at us forgets we exist the moment they see you." "But I never tried to take anyone from you. I always kept my distance." "It doesn't matter," Ngozi said. "They still choose you. Always you. No one notices any good we do. It always Oluchi, Oluchi, Oluchi." Oluchi understood now. Horror filled her eyes. "Please, my friends, don't do this. I will leave the village. I will go far away to my grandmother's village. Please, don't hurt me." "It is too late, Oluchi. Girls, now!" Ada screamed. The three friends pushed Oluchi hard. Her scream filled the forest as she fell backward into the darkness. Down, down, down she went, hitting the walls, her arm breaking. Then a terrible thud and silence. Behind the tree, Jaja watched in horror. He had to wait until dark to rescue the girl safely. The three friends stared into the pit. No sound came up. "She must be dead," Ngozi whispered. "Now, people will notice our good deeds and appreciate our beauty. You were a good friend, but dangerous for us. Sorry you had to go this way." They smeared mud on themselves and tore their clothes. Then they ran to the village, screaming loudly, "Help! Some strange men attacked us while we were fetching firewood from the bush. They took Oluchi."
Mrs. Chika's scream of anguish tore through the village. "My daughter! My baby! No! This can't be happening! I am finished!" For 3 days, warriors searched everywhere in the forest, every cave. They found nothing. On the 4th day, the chief called off the search. She is gone. But that first night, when darkness covered the forest, Jaja returned with ropes and a torch. He climbed down the deep pit. At the bottom, he found Oluchi alive but badly hurt. Her arm was broken and she had blood on her forehead, but she was breathing. "I saw what they did to you," Jaja said gently. "I'm taking you to safety." He carried her through the forest to his village, Afikpo, where his wife Adeaze cared for Oluchi like her own daughter. For weeks, Adeaze cleaned her wounds, set her broken arm. As Oluchi's body healed, her heart remained wounded. But slowly, with Adeaze's gentle care and wise words, she began to find small joys again. She helped on the farm, played with Jaja's children, and learned to smile once more.
3 months later, everything changed. Prince Obi was riding home from a neighboring village when he heard beautiful singing by the stream. He followed the sound and saw the most beautiful woman he had ever seen filling a pot with water. When Oluchi saw the richly dressed man, she bowed respectfully. "Please stand," Prince Obi said warmly. "I am Prince Obi. What is your name?" "Oluchi, Your Highness." "I have never seen you in this village," the prince said. "Yes, my prince. Jaja's wife is my sister. I came to visit her," Oluchi replied with her head bowed. "Okay. May I visit you again?" he asked. "I would like to know you better." "Okay, my prince," she replied humbly. From that day, the prince visited Oluchi regularly. They talked for hours about everything. He saw not just her beauty, but her intelligence, her strength, and her forgiving heart. And Oluchi saw in him a man of honor and kindness. Something about her gentle voice and the pain in her eyes made the prince ask about her story. And Oluchi, feeling safe with this kind stranger, told him everything. Prince Obi's jaw tightened with anger at the injustice. "Those women walk free while you suffer? That is not right." "I am alive, Your Highness. That is enough." One evening, under the sunset, Prince Obi took her hand. "I love you, Oluchi. I want you to be my wife, my princess." Tears of joy filled Oluchi's eyes. "I love you too." The prince went to his father, King Ezeonu, and told him everything. The wise king listened carefully. "This girl has captured your heart, and I was planning to raid Umuahia tomorrow, but I will not conquer the village of our future daughter-in-law. Instead, we will make peace. We will return Oluchi to her parents and arrange a proper marriage." A week later, a grand procession arrived in Umuahia. When the villagers saw Oluchi riding with the prince, alive and well, chaos erupted. "Oluchi, she's alive!" Mrs. Chika pushed through the crowd screaming with joy. "My daughter! My baby!" They embraced, crying together. In the village square, Oluchi told the truth. "There were no strange men. My 3 friends led me to a pit and pushed me in because of jealousy." The crowd gasped in horror. Ada, Ngozi, and Amara were dragged forward. "Is this true?" the chief demanded. "Yes," Ada whispered, falling to her knees. "We did it. Please forgive us." The crowd shouted for harsh punishment, but Oluchi raised her hand. "I forgive them. I will not carry hatred in my heart." The council of elders spoke for a while. Their judgment was clear. Ada, Ngozi, and Amara will not be killed, but they will live with the shame of what they did. Everyone will know their story. They cannot hold positions of honor. This is their punishment. Then Prince Obi spoke. "I have come to ask for Oluchi's hand in marriage. I want her to be my wife, my princess." The village erupted in celebration.
1 month later, the grandest wedding Umuahia had ever seen took place. Oluchi, dressed in beautiful red velvet and gold, married Prince Obi. The whole village celebrated, while Ada, Ngozi, and Amara watched from a distance, seeing everything they had lost to jealousy. Oluchi moved to the palace in Afikpo, where she became a beloved princess. She never forgot her humble beginnings. She visited her parents often and always treated everyone with respect. After some years, Oluchi became queen of Afikpo, ruling with grace and wisdom. Her children grew up learning that mercy is stronger than revenge, and that a grateful heart is worth more than all the beauty in the world. And her story lived on generation after generation, teaching everyone that jealousy destroys, but forgiveness sets you free. Moral lessons. Jealousy is a poison that destroys the one who holds it. Beauty without character is worthless. Forgiveness is strength, not weakness. God can turn any tragedy into triumph. Comment what you learned from this story. Like this video and subscribe for more great stories like this. And don't forget to tell me where you're watching from. See you in my next video.